again, thanks to God, like I am able to share and you are able to listen. Now, today's topic is protocol oriented programming, POP. So, what is POP actually, and why like Swift adopted this POP rather than OOPS, right? So, I will just explain you what is the protocol oriented programming before going into Swift basic fundamentals, right? So we can just focus on the approach, like what Swift wants, like protocol oriented programming, and why they are more focused towards protocol oriented programming. So I have one small PPT that I created so that you can understand like how it is different from object oriented programming also, so that you can relate like why protocol oriented programming rather than object oriented programming and what are the benefit of it. So first we'll go and check it out, the object oriented programming difference from the protocol oriented programming approach, right? So some key points are there, like like basic of protocol oriented programming is procedural structural oriented, right? So it's a value type rather than reference type. I'll explain you when I will go dig deep into the Swift programming. So classes, everything are generally reference type, and struct is generally protocol oriented programming. So the object oriented programming is saying I'm the object oriented rather than protocol oriented, right? Some functions oriented, right? This is the first difference. Then approach. What approach is coming inside protocol oriented programming and object oriented programming, which is like if you will use protocol oriented programming, it will come as a top down approach, and in the object oriented programming it will come as a bottom up approach. Now how it will work, that I'm telling you. Like suppose I have I have an example, like uh, like I want to pay something, right, to a person. So that person is here with his bank detail, right? Bank detail, and the bank detail of this person is available, and I want to pay him, right? So I have four options. Like I have uh, two apps, A1 and A2. Suppose like in India, like it can be Paytm and PhonePe, like that. And another way is my net banking, and another way can be my cash, right? So I have four way: net banking, cash, A2 application, and A1 application. Through four ways I can pay him, right? Through four ways I can pay him, this person, right? So I need to think on the scenario, and I need to think on this scenario from the side of object oriented programming and from the side of protocol oriented programming itself. It's a best example, okay? So I need to do a mechanism here, right? So that that person can just get some money over there. So what is my act? I need to pay, and what person's like thing, like he need to receive, right? So over there, like I'll go with both approaches, top down and bottom up approach. Bottom up will first we'll proceed from the object oriented programming. Like bottom up is saying I need to create first a suppose four features were there. So two were the applications, and two were the like net banking and cash. So I need to create some classes over there, right? Some classes over there, those will take care of some feature, right? So to pay, some function will be there, right? So I need to create A1 class, then I need to create A2 class, and then I need to create net banking class, and then I need to create this uh, cache class. So amongst all like there will be a function, something called pay, right? So that pay will be available, but signatures can be different, right? The parameters can be different. So the parameters can be different, and the pay feature will define into my the parent class, right? The parent class. So the parent class can be a payment machine over there, right? So I'm doing the uh, payment machine object, and I need to create a payment machine class here, right? So sorry for my bad drawing, but yeah, hope you will understand. So the payment machine will introduce into the A1, A2, net banking, and the cache. So I'm creating a class which related to this class, like these classes will be the subclass of this payment machine, and it will be adopted by inheritance, which is the first pillar of object oriented programming. And there are like abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation, right? So data hiding will be there. So once it will go there into the A1, it will hide everything, and it will come through the object, right? So parent will be the payment machine, and then A1 will be there. So I need to think like that. I need to go first and just create my A1 things, then A2 thing, like what are the parameters will go inside the phone pay, what IDs and everything he required, what Paytm is required, like Paytm is required with the bank detail of that person. And also it required some another information, like person have the he's using the phone pay or not, he's using that particular Paytm application or not. Those things we need to check first into the A1, so we'll think those first, right? So this will be the bottom up approach, and we'll go with the leaf and we'll go till tree, right? So root. So like that we can just proceed into the object oriented programming. So how, like first, and then payment machine will take care of information related to the feature there it implemented, like in apps or net banking or cache. So in net banking, I need to check it out, like I need to add him as a bank account detail, um, to like in my net banking services, like in my bank account I need to add him as a beneficiary, and then we can just pay. So these kind of things we need to take care in net banking. Into the cache, like I need to understand like whether he is like able to receive all the things and I'm there, or lots of things can become in this path as well, right? So those real-time scenarios I need to take care, and I need to think well, from bottom side, right? So I'll first create all the classes, then I'll think on payment machine, and slowly once I'll complete this, then I'll inject this into the payment machine, and I'll start the first feature. Then I will understand on the A2 application, and I'll register with the payment machine, and then I can just use this number 2 application service, and then I can just go to the net banking. I will execute all the cases at the bottom level, then I'll register over there into the payment machine, and then I can just proceed and just do this thing as well. And finally we can proceed with the cash flow cash class as well. So according to the requirement of bottom person, I'm just doing something, and it's informing to the payment machine, yeah, somebody came new and you need to be changed, right? You need to be changed. So we are forcing or adding over there from the bottom side, right, to the payment machine. So new requirements are coming, and we are just forcing the another parent, and we are dependent to the parent as well, right? So we are dependent to the parent as well, right? So that is the object oriented programming. But now if I'll come to the protocol, I'll tell you how it works. So if you will go and just create a new paint, and here I want to tell you, like suppose I have a protocol, like here, like it's a top down approach. Over there, like I need to write a program before execution, and like it can be useful for uh, anybody. Like it can be like I need to think on this program first, right? So I can just look into the program, like what can be the cases, right? So two apps are there, tomorrow multiple apps can be there, net banking is there, tomorrow something else can be there, right? So the cash flow, cash is there, and how many methods into the cash as well, right? Somebody else will give cash to that person, I'll give to cash, right? And somewhere else he is, and somebody else will go there and just see the location, and just he'll transfer something through cash to him, like that person. So all the cases I need to think before execution. So I'll write a protocol first. And protocol is nothing, like it's a full program which will divide into like several functions, and that will produce a final output, right? Final output. So it's a top down approach, where like the thing is like task should be done anyhow, right? And anything can become in between, they can just adopt this protocol if they are into this family, right? So we'll take care, like what can be apps, how many apps can come there, right, in my path. So I'll take care of those apps. If how many net banking features will come, lots of banks will come, that I'll already take care, right? So it's a top down rather than bottom up, I'm not dependent on other things, right? So net bankings can come, right? And also I can just define the cache features, right? So I'll define some protocols, some set of rules, and something over there which will helpful, and any app can just adopt this protocol properly, and they can work there, right? So some common features and common generic things I will define here, and that will work everywhere. So protocol is a top down, and object oriented is a bottom up. So we need to think, and we need to depend on the hierarchy of the functions, right? Hierarchy of the, I'm sorry, classes, right? So there will be a object oriented programming, and in the protocol oriented programming only we need to define a program first before implementation. So thinking very broad at the first time, and then just execution will be pretty easier and pretty dynamic, right? So here, like last, like I want to tell, like inputs can be so many, but protocol will be there, it will take care of all inputs according to their requirement, and it will generate a final output, right? So that is called protocol oriented programming, and there only you can imagine like how many things can be there, right? So if you have so many inputs, but they want to do same things, they want to produce same result, then you need to define a protocol for them, and you can execute that protocol to their way, right? So right now I gave you the example of payment machine. I can just give you the example of uh, different kind of restaurants. Apps will be there, but their feature will be to serve food. So that can be the output, right? In so many things you can just relate this protocol oriented programming, where like you can just go with the mvvm pattern as well, model view model pattern design pattern. There the thing is like lots of controls will be there on your iPhone, or like UI text field, text view, buttons, steppers, controls, switches, but they need to produce some result, and they want to bind with the model, right? So model should reflect from like user whatever he is doing. He's changing the text field name like Abhi to Abhimanyu, then like it will reflect over there into your model, right? So like that, and in the model, if something will reflect, it should go to the controls, related controls. So there is a approach, like controls are different UI controls, but they are doing the same, they are updating the data. So it will be the part of protocol oriented programming, and output will be changes into the model. So you can imagine like how you can use this protocol oriented programming strongly rather than oops, right? Object oriented programming. So like that you can think like approach is a top down and bottom up. In oops it is a bottom up. So their abstraction is available, but now in Swift I'll tell you one by one like how we can proceed. Now on the basis like protocol oriented programming, as I explained you, main focus is on how to get the task done and on the procedure or structure of a program. So the complete program will be there, you need to execute that and it will produce a final result. So we need to think first and then we need to implement everything. For object oriented programming also we need to write the cases, but like one by one we can just take the things once they will add over there. So main focus is on data security, hence only object are permitted to the access to the entity of the class, right? And the long code will be there, long code will be there, that will be the pretty hectic thing. Like suppose if you will take some example of your UI button itself, and you will go to your Xcode and check it out. Like if you will go there and check it out like what's happening into the UI button. So I want to tell you, like if you will go there and check, uh, if you will go and check your Xcode over there, the hierarchy I want to tell you, like how it will work into the UI button and why they require the protocol oriented programming rather than object oriented programming nowadays. So if you will go to your documentation, if you will go to your documentation of Swift, and if you will see, there are lots of modules are already added, but I want to go to the Swift the UI button only, so that you can just understand. Yeah, this is a UI button, and in this UI control is available. This is a class and it's based on object oriented approach. Now if you will go to the UI control, it's a part of UI view, right? Once you will go to the UI view, it's a part of UI responder, right? And once you will go to the UI responder, it is a part of NS object class, which is a mother of all the other classes, right? The root class of the most objective C class inheritance, right? Hierarchies from which subclass inherit a basic interface of the runtime system and ability to behave the objective C object. So it's a mother of all the remaining classes, and you understood how the hierarchy worked from UI button to NS object, right? So it is a long journey. So why can't we create a something like a protocol which can adapt to the UI button, UI text view, UI text field, everywhere, and like it should not depend and rely on these things. But it's a simple example, no doubt there is a very big concept is already done, and this is a hierarchy through the inheritance and everything. But now Swift is looking like protocol oriented programming should be best, and it can be, everything can be written as a protocol oriented programming approach rather than inheritance and everything, right? So hope you understood like what I want to tell you. So it will be the lengthy process if you will go with the oops concept, and if you will go to the protocol oriented programming, you will reduce your lengthy code. You will not dependent on so much things. So you will not depend on the parent. You can just functional wise, like you can just adopt the functionality and you can use those feature and tasks should done over there, right? and you can reduce the lots of bunch of code over there, and workability will be very strong, and it will reduce the code burden also. Like it will not depend to the other parent things, right? So division is saying large program is divided into units called functions in the protocol oriented programming, and the object oriented programming its main focus is on data security. Hence only objects are permitted to access to entities of a class, right? But nowadays in the protocol oriented programming, access specifiers are working with the protocol oriented programming as well. Inheritance supported in protocol oriented programming? No, they don't want to inherit things. They don't want to uh, uh, like uh, focus like they should depend on parent. No, they want a functionality. Function thing will be there, so that should be work over there, right? And the oops, they are implemented, right? So object oriented programming is there, encapsulation, data abstraction, inheritance and polymorphism, everything is there, right? But pop not allowed those things, right? It is not working on this object oriented programming approach, right? So and why, like I can just give you one more example, like if why they are not relate on this thing, because uh, there is a animal, there is a living species are there, and there are animal classes available, and in the animal uh, I can tell you animal and bird species will be there. So in the bird, like you can just tell like pigeon and parrot, right? And pigeon and parrot will be there. But and in the animal, like buffalo and dragon will be there. So if you will add this dragon as a object oriented programming, then you need to write a dragon class, then animal, then species, right? So tomorrow if dragon can fly, then where he should go? He should go here, or he should go inside the bird? Then it will be pretty hectic. But in protocol oriented programming, what they are saying, don't go like that. Don't go like that. You can just create a two protocol, flyable protocol, and you know a movable protocol, like a 4 lakhs movable protocol, which will cover into the animal, and another will cover into your bird, right? So two protocols you can create, movable and flyable. So flyable and movable can just register on a dragon. Except this, like you should not focus on the hierarchy of your classes and object oriented programming, right? So you can create a flyable protocol which can fly, it will go with this, and one will be the movable, which can be the animal thing, right? So dragon, I need to create a class dragon, then I can just use this as a flyable. Also I can use this movable. So it will be the combination of all feature of flyable and movable. So I don't rely on the parental thing, animal and species, bird and species, like that, right? So it's a pretty easy, pretty strong and pretty fast, right? So this is the protocol oriented programming rather than oops. And now one more thing I want to tell you, like if you will see, like multiple inheritance is not adopted into the protocol oriented programming, right? So into the Swift, right? So inheritance is also not allowed, but into the Swift, like how you can just do it, it can work as a multiple inheritance. But don't confuse, like it's not a inheritance, right? And it is a protocol oriented programming. Functions we are writing for the species, right? So species are the program, and functions we are writing in divided form, like flyable, movable, right? Walkable, everything. So like that we can just reduce the things in the pop. So it's very strong, and it is reducing all the object oriented programming approach. Access control is saying, like in Swift it's possible now, access control, you can just control the access of protocol oriented programming as well, right? So public, private, protected, everything is there on protocol as well, through the extension, right? Extension is there, you can just work around, and we'll be there inside once I'll jump into the Swift language basic understanding. Yeah, and data hiding is saying using protocol extension it's possible. So we can hide the data as well in POP nowadays in Swift. And oops, yeah, it's sure we can hide there into the oops. This is the advantage, but in protocol oriented programming also we can hide those things perfectly now. Languages support, right? POP is like purely languages support, pure how purely like object oriented programming is available there into the C++ and Java. Those things are purely object oriented based programming language. And the protocol oriented programming is like Pascal and Fortran. So those language are purely protocol oriented programming. They don't want object oriented programming. Now I want to give you the mixture of all these programmings, which is saying protocol object oriented programming, right? The combination of protocol oriented plus object oriented programming, right? Which is these language, and inside that objective C and Swift is also one of them, right? So Swift respect object oriented programming as well. Also it have the protocol oriented programming as well. So you can imagine how powerfully it is made by Apple, right? So in the next section I'll start the Swift basic fundamentals. Today I just introduce like what is the protocol oriented programming approach and how it is working, and hope you enjoyed this, you learned something, and how like it is a uh, protocol based programming and top down approach is there rather than bottom up like object oriented programming. So that we understood. So that is a pretty strong difference between object oriented programming and protocol oriented programming. So if you like this video, kindly share with your friends and family, and please love and support to this channel. Thank you so much. Thanks, guy. So next I'll start from the basic Swift fundamentals, and I'll cover the all basics of the Swift for some next lectures, and then we'll jump to the UI creation and everything one by one. We'll go slow. Speed will automatically come. Thank you so much.